Every year in my course on Jewish thought for students studying in Israel, I begin by asking them to summarize a book they've recently read. They usually do that quite easily. But then I ask them, what is the Torah about? Suddenly the room becomes quiet. After a few minutes, the students usually answer that the Torah is about God, the Jewish people, and the mitzvot. Of course, these themes are central. But then I summarize the Torah's narrative as a whole so they can evaluate their answers. Although the Torah begins with the creation of the world and humanity, that is largely a prelude to the first command uttered to Abraham, our forefather. Go forth to the land that I will show you. From that moment onward, two promises stand at the center of the biblical story: the promise of a people and the promise of the land. By the beginning of Exodus, the descendants of Jacob have become a people. The rest of the Torah then focuses largely on the fulfillment of the second promise, bringing that people to the land of Israel. God repeatedly tells Moses that the purpose of the Exodus is to bring the Israelites to the land. After leaving Egypt, the people journeyed to Mount Sinai, where they enter into a covenant with God and receive the Torah, the blueprint for their national life in the land. After building the Mishkan, the portable sanctuary, they begin their journey toward the promised land. But the journey repeatedly breaks down. There's the sin of the golden calf, there are complaints and rebellions, and then there's the sin of the spies, which led to the death of the entire generation that left Egypt. Then, because of his own sin, Moses himself is not allowed to enter the land. Thus, he dedicates the final book of the Torah, Deuteronomy, to preparing the people for entering the land in his absence. In his speech, he repeatedly warns the new generation that their future in the land will depend upon their moral and religious conduct. When my students hear this retelling of the Torah's narrative, they're often shocked to realize that they omitted one of its central themes, the land of Israel. Why does this happen? Perhaps it's because for nearly 2,000 years, Jews lived in exile, and naturally, Torah educators chose to emphasize themes that were more relevant to diaspora existence. But today, we've once again become a sovereign nation in our homeland as the Torah envisioned. This means that we need to rediscover dimensions of the Torah that exile pushed into the background. For the Torah is not merely about the relationship between God and his people. It is also about how that relationship is meant to take shape when God's people become a sovereign nation in its land. To overlook that truth is not merely to miss one theme among many, it's to miss the Torah's very foundation and underlying vision.